Alrighty, what is going on, guys? Landlord282, welcome back to another video, where today I'm going to be going through another update video on the Transit map that I have going on. This will be the third update in my update series on this map. So as you can see right off the bat, the map kind of just looks a little bit different, because I've now actually started using the Axiom mod, which is a mod that helps you build maps in a larger scale. It helps with creating terrain and stuff like that, and just overall makes the editing process and the building process much easier. So I think without this mod, I probably would be stuck at around, I'd say, 30% of the way done with this map, but with the Axiom mod, I think I've propelled my progress to probably around 75 to 80% of the way done with this map. So, and that's a pretty big jump. But today I'm just going to show you all the buildings that I've placed so far, and what else needs to be done, and just kind of general things about what all I need to do in this map before I can release it to anywhere, which I do plan on releasing it somewhere at some point, and also trying to do like maybe a series on it, and do like a maybe like a roleplay series or something like that, just to kind of incorporate these maps, because I do make them for fun, but also I want to make a project that has something to do with these maps. Or if someone would want to download the map and incorporate it into their own kind of Let's Play, that's something cool that they could do as well when I get that released to the public. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the little rundown of what all I've placed and what all needs to be done. So starting off, we go to Transit bus depot. Not much has been done since my last video, except more terraforming around here, and especially back here, because these two roads go that way, and then there's also one road that goes this way, which I didn't even realize until recently. So I went ahead and terraformed all of this over here with the Axiom mod. So again, not really much has been changed since my last video. And then let's go over and move on to the tunnel. The tunnel is the one thing that I have not finished yet, just because it's a little time consuming and a little monotonous, just because you're just placing stone and cyan terracotta. So it's just a little boring, but I think I'm probably going to get that done after this video is done and uploaded. So I'll go ahead and start on that. So if you go through here, it's pretty accurate to the actual tunnel that's featured in the game, except I did try and shorten it just a little bit so that way it can line up with the diner, because I did kind of overcompensate for the size, but I did just shorten it just a little bit, but there's not really too much of a difference. So, and then the hills over there will lead to the highway connecting over there. I might add some more buildings that aren't really in the game to kind of flesh it out just a little bit more and just make it a little bit different than the actual game. So if we go over here, I have placed all the terrain at diner, and then I have diner placed with the gas station and the cabin. But as you can see, there's not really anything done inside of each of these buildings, just because I'm waiting to save the interior and exterior details for each POI till probably the very last thing I do. That way, it's just me kind of going through each individual POI and adding little touches to make them that more accurate to the game. And then you got the cabin right here, which I am probably going to be extending by a block or two, just because there is double doors on this cabin in the actual game, but I just kind of copied and pasted it over from Bus Depot. So not really much over here. I need to add some trees and stuff like that and foliage just to flesh it out a little bit more and make it like the game. And then you have the I think it's the sedan kind of sign advertisement. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So not really anything special. And then if you go around here, the back of the church, you have the road that leads all the way up to town if you want to take that shortcut. So we'll go over there in a little bit. And then you have the terrain that's over here. Not really anything special. I still need to do the pylons and the power lines all around the map. And then over here we have farm. Not really much. I am very pleased with how this turned out just because it's pretty accurate to how all the buildings are placed, because you have like the little barrier that's like right here, and then you have like a space over here between the little shed and the barn and then the house. Again, not really anything in there on each floor. And then you have the chicken coop back there, as well as the silo. And then you have the fatter silo that's right behind the barrier. So, but overall, I think I like this section just because of how accurate it looks. So, and then you have like the little farm area that has like the corn back here. I'm still trying to figure out if I should just use tall grass, just because that's probably the closest thing I can get to corn in the game. So I'll probably just be using that. And then there's supposed to be like a forest and a lake back here, which I will add probably towards the end as well, when I add the details to this POI. And then should be a pylon right here. And then you get over here to where the corn maze and stuff, and Noct will be back there sometime shortly. I just have to fix the terrain all the way back there. But the pylon should be here, where the cornfield and corn maze is over here and over here. So not really anything special. And then if we keep following this road, we will end up at the power station. This needs terraformed, and then also need to replace all this stuff with just grass and fill in this hole over here. And everything is placed in its exact order. So if I go ahead and use the night vision potion, because it is pretty dark down there, so you can't really see, but all of it's been placed. Even the zombie barriers that usually shouldn't be accessed or won't be accessed will be here. And then I'll replace all that stone down there with different material and just kind of pretty this part up. But overall, it looks pretty accurate, pretty good. And then you have over here, this is where the power switch would usually be when you build it. A zombie spawn right here, which I'll probably just like end this hallway over there. And then a mystery box spawn would be like right there. And then the staircase that leads all the way up to the power station building. So, and this looks pretty good too. I like it. It's pretty simplistic, but that's how the building is in the game. Let me go ahead and get rid of this night vision potion. So if we keep following this road, also I do need to add the railroad tracks and the looks like the power plant little, I don't know what they would be. I'm not sure what exactly like type of objects they are, but I will be adding those, as well as the train tracks that go across the ground and the road. And then we have the cabin over here with the Bowie knife in it. This looks pretty accurate as well. Very simplistic. Should be a fireplace right here I'm gonna add, and then it has the back door. So nothing really too special about this. But if we head on over down this road, more mountains, and then we will end up at town. So again, this is probably like one of my favorite parts of the map, just because I could definitely see this map and just like thinking that I'm actually like in the game when I'm here, just because of how accurate every single like building is and placed, and the spacing and stuff. So I'm very proud of the way I've achieved each of these buildings looks. Even the simplistic ones like that, and even that one. because they look pretty good from in the game. So, but you've all seen all these buildings that I've placed so far, and the church as well. And I couldn't really place the church at an angle because it's kind of faced like this, kind of like diagonal right there. And I didn't want to place it like facing this way, so I think the best option was just to place it like this, because it's kind of facing this way more than it would be facing that way. So, and then once you go over here through there, the bus will usually take you over this little bridge. I'm gonna add water in there, and then in the second version of the map, I will be adding lava, and then it'll take you all the way back to the depot. So yeah, I'm very happy with how this has turned out so far, and I'm definitely gonna keep working on this. I want to release this somewhere. I want to do videos with it, because I really didn't want to build it and just have it go to waste, because I do like building these maps, but I want to do something with it and kind of make my own stuff with it. But also, I will turn the time to night so you can see what it looks like. So time set. Do that. As you can see, it looks pretty desolate at night, but I did like to add some of the lampposts on each of these sides over here, and then I also added a light source block in the belfry of the church, just because in the game it does have like a little light that shines up there, so I kind of wanted to add that little touch. But let me go ahead and go through the map while it's at its night form, because it is a little spooky just being alone at night on this map, especially with like no zombies. And then also I can turn on one of the shaders that I found that I think would work really well with this map. So let me go ahead and go through. I think the farm also looks the creepiest at night, just because of how little darkness, and also the moon peering through, how little light is in this part of the map. And this also could be good as like a hide and seek map too. So, and I feel like Noct would probably be like the scariest building to have in this map, and even the cabin as well. But this is what it looks like at night. Looks pretty cool. And then I'll go ahead and turn on the shader as well, just to kind of let you guys have a feel of what it would look like if I had this shader on, as well as what it'd look like with the actual map being the destroyed version. So let me go ahead and do that. And as you can see, this looks pretty cool. I like this. This reminds me of the pre-alpha version of the map that was going to be released, because it also had like a red kind of sky, and the moon like peered through and made it look pretty like horrifying. So I feel like I would use this map, or I would use this shader for the map for the destroyed version. But yeah, definitely a must-have for the actual version, or the second version of this map that comes out. And then let me see. It is the Hysteria Shaders Universal pack is what I'm using. So, but I made sure everything like had a red tint to it, because you can edit a lot of like the settings, because you can edit the night and the day, because you can make the nighttime only have red, but you can also have the like daytime have like a blue tint or like a green tint. So There's very like good customizable features, and also with like the fog as well. But yeah, that's probably all I'm gonna show for you today. I'm gonna be editing and going through the map, and I'll probably be doing the tunnel next, and then I'll be doing the terraforming towards the power station, and then doing Noct, getting that put in, and then after that, we'll probably be going through and starting with the bus depot and going all the way around and adding just all the details that I need, and then that'll probably be when the release happens, is after I'm done with all that. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all like what I'm doing with the progress and like what you're seeing. This is a pretty big map, and I'm excited to see what it looks like for the final version, and I'm excited to make the actual version from Black Ops 2. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.